Hi, welcome everybody from TechnoLost to this video review of the Sony Xperia Z. First of all, I want to thank our friend at Global World Mobile for the Sony Xperia Z we have for our review. Well, we just saw in the dedicated focus the multimedia performance as well as the performance into benchmark and gaming of the Sony Xperia Z. Now let's just sum up and see the pros and cons and into this final review. Well, first of all, I just want to remind you a few hardware specs of this device. We have the CPU, which is the APQ8064. It's the Snapdragon S4 Pro family CPU with a fab service of 28 nanometers. It's a quad-core CPU clocked at 1.5 GHz. We have then the GPU, which is the Adreno 320. We have 2 GB of RAM. We have this gorgeous display which is 5 inches with full HD resolution and a pixel density of 440 pixels per inch, more or less. Then we have the IP55 and IP57 certification, which means that this phone can resist against water and dust. In particular, it can resist up to 30 minutes at a depth or maximum depth of 1 meter underwater, of course. And we have the LTE connectivity, which is very fast connectivity, capable of downloading at a speed of 100 megabit per second and upload at a speed of 50 megabit per second. So these are more or less the hardware specs. I mean, few other things is maybe it's the rear camera sensor, which is the 13 megapixel Exmor RS sensor, capable of recording both picture and video in HDR mode, as well as the front-facing camera sensor, which is the 2 megapixel Exmor R, so we can record 1080p video and take HDR picture from the front-facing camera too. So, as I told you, these are more or less the most interesting hardware specs of this device. So let's just see the software functionalities of this Sony Xperia Z. First of all, let's start with the lock screen. We have this clock here with two icons, the note here on the left and the camera on the right. If we swipe the note icon from left to right like this, we reveal the music panel, which is really interesting if you are used to listen to your music with your mobile device like I do. And if you swipe from right to left using this camera icon, you directly get into your camera. If you just perform this gesture upside down, or from up from downside to the upper side, or from the upper side to the lower side, with some kind of curtain effect like this, you just unlock the device. So we have Jelly Bean version 4.1.2 into this Xperia Z, as you can read here. Of course, Sony stated that it will update this device to Jelly Bean 4.2 this month on March, or maybe on April, anyway, very soon. And we have some customization made for Sony for this Sony Xperia Z. Few things fortunately remain quite stock, like this selector for the time into the calendar, which is really good in my opinion. I mean, sorry guys, I'm fond of the stock interface, and it's really a pleasure to see some OEM just use the stock interface for few things like this day selector or time selector, with our very well made and very comfortable and useful. Now we have the first customization made by Sony, which is this shortcut here panel into the notification bar. Although we cannot decide what shortcut to insert into this panel, it's useful nevertheless because we have it. I mean, it's better to have it than not have it. So If we get into the settings, we will see few other settings customized by Sony. We have this one dealing with the display, like the mobile browsing engine 2, which is known for updating the for having better contrast and better color saturation into the Sony gallery as well as the Sony video player too. Then we have this theme selector. We just change not only the wallpaper but for the home screen or for the lock screen, but even the main theme for what concerns the used color into the UI. Then of course for the lock screen we cannot choose anything but the wallpaper, because as I show you, we don't even have anymore these shortcuts for the notification like the missed call or SMS or even into the calendar or stock email client. We don't have all that kind of notification directly into the lock screen as we used to have in the previous Xperia models. Now, what else? Sorry. It's interesting to see, even it's not properly Sony customization, to see that we have here the storage. It's capable to read the microSD card up to 64 GB. Then we have the power management, which is the stamina mode. This is really interesting because we are able to enhance the standby mode of the Sony Xperia Z, given the fact that we're not using it, of course, because if we use it, there's no way to save your battery. Anyway, using stamina mode, we can, enhance the standby mode of this Sony Xperia. We can, for instance, decide what to, it's like a whitelist when we can decide which application continue to use data connection and to run in background while the screen goes off. This is really interesting. Otherwise, the device itself will just shut down every other running app into the background and won't use any bytes of your data connection. Then we have this low battery mode, which just disable few function of this device while the battery reach a certain percentage. And we have location-based Wi-Fi, which means that we can decide when to activate or where to activate your Wi-Fi connection based on your position. We have, of course, a battery percentage into the status bar, the possibility to activate or not the status bar information for what concerns battery level percentage, and we have, of course, battery usage. Then, what else? We have this Xperia menu, where we can, for instance, download your internet settings for your, let's say, mobile provider. We can start mirroring, which is some kind of, I don't know what kind of protocol which let us connect directly using USB some device who will control our Xperia. We have the throw settings, which is something dealing with the DNA. I mean, we can throwing pictures and videos directly into your TV or certified DLNA devices. We have, of course, the possibility to send our data usage to Sony, and this is very interesting. It's the USB connectivity, which means that we can, for instance, decide whether to use MTP media transfer protocol for the PC connection or the mass storage mode, which means that, for instance, we can see the external SD card as the pen drive when we connect this device to the computer, which is really interesting because nowadays all the high-end devices just use the MTP protocol and won't let you choose any other things. Then what else, guys? We have okay, these are the main customization for what concern the interface, of course, of this Sony Xperia. Few other things I want to show you. The first one is dealing with the multimedia menu. As you show here, we have the possibility to close the apps just swiping, like the standard stock multimedia menu. But what is even more interesting is the fact that we can launch some small apps like this, which just goes into overlay with the display, and we can, for instance, use it in any other app while using the device. This is really interesting. Moreover, if you consider, we have few apps here. We have the calculator, we have the timer, we have note, we have the voice recording, but we can add some other apps here. Just selecting the the Play Store. Here we have this filter with just let us shows all the dedicated my small apps, which are really interesting. Some of those are really interesting. We have, for instance, let me show you a currency converter. We have a web small app, for instance, so a small browser floating around. So it's a very nice update made by Sony. What else? The other very interesting stuff is dealing with the keyboard. Finally, we have a very good keyboard made by Sony. Not only it's very fast, it's very functional and it's comfortable to use, but we even have many possible customization. If we get into the settings like this and we select keyboard settings, we cannot even choose the language. Choose the main language and the secondary language, and even decide whether to have suggestion for both language altogether. But we can even choose keyboard appearance, which means that we can select the keyboard layout between the normal T9 layout, the QWERTY layout, or the extended QWERTY, which means that we have the second function keyboards impressed on the main keyboard, the keys, sorry. And we can even decide to add some additional keys like the full stop and comma keys or the smile keys, as well as choose between three skin. We have the white skin, white on gray, and gray on gray, which is really a nice addition to this, to this keyboard made by Sony. Moreover, just want to show you the keyboard. It's really fast. Doesn't even support the swipey like this. And what is really interesting is that we have, when we want to correct a word, we have this lens selector that lets us move and we move our cursor exactly where we want to go. This is really interesting because it's smooth, it's very fast, and I've been using it on many others mobile phone, but none of them are that fluid and fast and very useful, because they are very precise. You exactly go where you want to go. This seems silly because it should work always this way, but you can be sure that not many others mobile phone has such a great implementation of this lens correction. If we double tap, we have text selection, and here we can expand our selection with this other lens, which is the rectangular lens. Very interesting, very functional. It's a very good job from Sony. So these are all the main customization made by Sony for the UI of this Sony Xperia Z. Now let's talk quickly about the multimedia side. We already saw the dedicated focus, so if you're interested on the multimedia side, you can directly go into the dedicated focus. Just few things I want to remind you. We have a quite good picture, especially very good macro mode, quite good picture with direct sunlight, and even very nice night shot, sorry. We have quite good video with a wonderful audio quality recording, because it's the audio into the video is recording to 128 kilobits per second. Maybe the HDR picture and video are not as good as I expected, but I guess it's just software issues, so they can be corrected. That's like a dark veil on HDR picture, and the HDR video themselves are not that useful too. What else? The playback, it's okay. I mean, you can play back almost any kind of video files using third-party app like MX Player, and we have a very good audio player with a wonderful audio output thanks to the Sony equalizer, which does really emphasize the basses without changing any other frequencies, which is really important if you listen to music frequently like I do. Then what else? Let's get to the browser. Given the fact that we have Jelly Bean, of course, we have just the Chrome browser, which is, in my opinion, really a pity, because the best browser to me is the stock browser. So we can use anyway Beta Chrome, which is much better than the standard Chrome. This is the Repubblica site, which is an Italian newspaper. Is quite heavy, but as you can see, the Beta browser doesn't have any kind of problem in scrolling the page, as well as in pinch zooming. It's very fast and fluid, and we don't have the checkboard or the white page when scrolling really fast. Nevertheless, we cannot use, last famous word, we cannot use the Flash player, which is really a pity. I really wanted to show you Lighting browser, which is a very good alternative browser to Chrome, but a few hours ago it got updated, and as you can see now it doesn't even start anymore. But I guess in the next update will be solve this issue. So we saw almost all the aspect of this Sony Xperia Z, so let's just sum up with the cons and the pro. The first cons is the fact that the factory size is a little bit big. It's 5 inches, and its square aspect with this all angular here, it's not that very easy to hold it in your hand and to move it. Nevertheless, it's 5 inches, so you won't expect anything but to get used to the new size, which is quite big. Then the notification LED is not working, as many of you already knows, but I guess it's just a software issue. I mean, the notification LED itself works when the device is connected to a power plug, so I guess it's just a software issue, and I'm sure that Sony will solve it in the next update. I mean, we can even use the receipt, let's say, released on XDA, but I didn't have the time to completely reset the device. Then the other downside is the display itself. I mean, the resolution is great, it's wonderful. If you give it a look in like this, that's no problem. I mean, if you look on the front side, if you just get a little bit oblique like this, the viewing angle are not that good, and this is really a pity. I mean, Sony may release the perfect device for the 2013, but given the fact that it doesn't have that great viewing angles, maybe it's not. It's really a pity. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not the worst device, the worst display ever seen, and it's not even so terrible. It's just that you pay quite a lot for a device like this, and maybe you would like to have a perfect display. That's it. Nevertheless, I mean, the display, if you give it a look in the front side like this, it's very good, very high resolution, so it's a wonderful, and it's great for reading and browsing like this. The device gets a little bit hot while used. I mean, not that much, nothing dramatic, but it gets hot. And the volume of this speaker, which is here, it's more or less adequate. The problem is that it's on the right side, so if you hold the device on the right hand like this, the whole of the speaker gets covered completely by the hand, and you cannot almost hear it anymore. But it won't be that much of a problem when you hold the device in your hand. You won't lose any notifications, so no problem, I guess. Let's now speak of the Pro. The design of this device is gorgeous, really gorgeous. Few other Android device can have such a great and minimal and elegant at the same time design. We have Dragon Trail glass on the front, Gorilla Glass 2 on the back, and glass fiber on the side. It seems to have a brick of a device, not because it's heavy, but because it's so sturdy, you know, it's so well crafted. It's wonderful, really, it's wonderful. What else, guys? I would say that the battery lasts for a whole day without any particular problem. At least if you use the stamina mode, you get really wonderful time in standby. Of course, if you use the phone, there's nothing to do. The big display, the very fast CPU just drain battery. But it's not worse on any other high-end devices nowadays on the market. So with a medium usage, you can, you know, easily reach the end of the day. What else? You have the USB on the go, so you can connect pen drive directly. You can insert a micro SD card up to 64 GB, and there's no problem in using USB mass storage. Moreover, this device that uses the LTE connectivity, which means that it's very fast. I could reach 70 megabit in download speed and almost 30 megabit in upload speed. You know, I'm dreaming of this device for my home connection too. So very fast device for what concern connectivity speed. Well, I guess I didn't forget anything. So if you're looking for a gorgeous device for what concern design, very nice materials, possibility to have to use it underwater or even dust, so a very sturdy device with a great resolution display, great multimedia capabilities, this Xperia Z is the one you have to get. So, hope I didn't forget anything. See you in the comment. Once more, thanks for watching and bye from TechnoLost.